To all the listeners of the Truth is Still Straight podcast, if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain to you. First of all, it's free, and that's what I love about it. There are also creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many other places. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. You heard that, in one place. So download your free Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm. Once again, you can download, whether you have Android or iPhone, you can download the free app from there, or you can go to anchor.fm to get started. Thank you. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jonathan St. James, and this is our new podcast, The Truth is Still Straight. And guess who I have here today? I have my partners in crime, Donna Marie, Nicole, as you know her, and Jen. Hey. Say hello, folks.
Hello, everyone.
Good afternoon. Hello, everyone.
I don't hear Nicole in the background.
Nicole, where you at?
She may have gotten kidnapped, so in case, what was that local law enforcement number that we need?
Wait a minute. Can y'all hear me now?
We can hear you.
Okay, we can hear you now.
Hey.
No?
Right, just
wait
sure.
a minute. Okay, what about now?
We can
hear you. We can hear you.
Okay.
All right, so it's been a long time. I think it's been about, I don't know, at least 4 years, I think, or a little bit more than that. It's been a while. I haven't really tracked the date from when we did our Blog Talk Radio show called Straight to Truth. But here we are. We are live and kicking it. Some people are kicking a little bit better because they're in good shape. Can't kick too high anymore, but, it is what it is. So before we get started, let's see what everyone's been up to over the last few years. Myself, trying to get this show together. And really just enjoying life up until this year when COVID decided to want to keep us wearing masks all the time. So.
Exactly.
But other than that, I'm all right. So I guess, Nicole, you there?
I'm here. Same thing. So... Really been focusing on personal development, my own health, my company, and just living life.
So what's your company, if I might ask?
Danica Nicole. It's not Danica Nicole. It's Danica Worthy LLC.
Yay.
It is for profit. I have a few staff members, and I do life coaching, personal development coaching, speaking. I haven't written any new books, but I do write for a couple of publications, and I do influencer work for a few other agencies. So that's what I've been up to.
Awesome.
That sounds good. And of course, we have LaDonna Marie over here, who, I'm surprised we're not getting royalty fees for having her.
Right?
Stop it.
It's funny because when she first came on the show, I think we were really talking about it's been so long. When Tomorrow Comes, is that the name of the book? What is the name of that first book we were talking about?
Until Tomorrow Comes.
Until Tomorrow Comes. Oh, smack me 10 times.
Right.
Yes, that was like, and then she has like 10,000 books since then.
Stop it.
She has more books than the Bible. I'm just serious.
I'm working on the 66. You know what I'm saying? Oh, wow. But it's an honor to be back. I mean, I love our family. I love that we're doing this, reconnecting. What I've been up to in the last 4 years, like you said, I'm working on those 66 books. I'm working on, just empowerment, and both of my companies, LaDonna Marie Books and my nonprofit, Planting Positive Seeds, raising my 2 young kings. I'm trying to get them to, they're the legacy of everything that I do and everything that God has placed within me. And so just growing. I've moved from Georgia to Mississippi. So I'm back in my native stomping grounds, here trying to change the world, planting positive seeds in my community, and as well as globally, with my companies. And like I said, so I just been living and trying to be my best version of myself so that I can walk others into the best version of their selves, with the company. So I'm just humbled to be able to be back in the midst of our family and seeing what we're doing and talking to all of our listeners.
And here's the thing. I saw that you were on a plane. Is that recently that you were on a plane?
Well, actually, that was last year. That was
Last year.
last year.
Oh,
So
okay. What's going on with that?
yeah. So today actually is the anniversary of my 1 year anniversary into ministry. I was ordained as an evangelist last year.
Yay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, on December the 6th. And I took my boys with me because we travel as a family. I do everything. It's like the us. I used to tell my children, we all we got, plus God and each other. So I take them along on every journey. With writing books, they've been with me, now in ministry. I take them along so that they'll feel just as included as I go out here and break these records and do things that they know that it's possible for them as well. So yeah, I've been an evangelist for a year in ministry, but I've been doing the work of the Lord since he told me about it at 14 years old. So I never felt like I needed a title. But in 2018, the Lord admonished me to receive his elevation. And so I had to be obedient to what he was doing in my life.
Now, is that something that you always had a feeling that you wanted to do? Like when you felt it was time and that you were called to do it at that moment. But before then, did you have some type of desire in your heart to be a minister?
Yes. Actually it started with everything with the writing, because at that time, he healed me. And we'll talk about it. He healed me I attempted to commit suicide at 14. And so when he healed me, he said that I'll give you words to help me to heal others. And so since the age of 14, I've been working in healing ministry. And so at that age, I just didn't have a name for it. I didn't know that I was doing the work of an evangelist. As I talked to people about my books, as I, poured into their lives, I was already doing the work. So I've been doing the work for over 20 something years of my life. And so now, so that's why I felt that I never needed a title, because he didn't have to give me a title to love people, to encourage people, to empower them, to speak life into them. Like, I just knew that there was something that I wanted to do, and also believe that I could heal, believe that in the name of Jesus that I could do the same things that he said, that those who know me will do great and mighty exploits. So I believed everything that the Lord told me, because when he saved my life, I could have been a statistic. Like, I could have died that day when I attempted suicide, but he gave me another chance. And so I think from my mindset, I just was like, I'll be obedient to what you asked me to do, even though it was still hard for me. It was still hard for me, but I never said no. I always said yes.
That's a
Amazing.
that's a
Yeah.
blessing
Yeah.
to hear, because a lot of times, I think of people of like Moses and make excuses why they can't do what God has ordered them to do. So I think that's wonderful that you had a feeling, there was something inside of you that wanted to do it, and then it came to the point where it was time for you to move forward, extend yourself in the eyes of God, and your reach to people who need to hear from him. And I think you are definitely a wonderful vessel,
Thank you.
because the way you approach people is just amazing. I'm trying to think of somebody I can liken it to, but it's
Thank
okay.
you.
Politics aside, but uh, President
Mm-hmm.
Obama, people, when they see him and they hear him, they feel like that he's their friend and they've known him all their life, even though they've never
Right.
met him. And I think that's the kind of
Oh,
energy that you give with your spirit, I feel like I've known you all my life, even though it hasn't been that
right.
long. But that's how I feel. When I talk to you, when we communicate, when you talk on the show, you just have this feeling that you get from you. Oh wow, this is you want to be, you want, somebody wants to know you. They want to
Oh,
hear from you. They want to talk to you because you give that off. So I think as you are actually a perfect person to be a minister and minister
You
to
gonna
other
make me
people.
cry. I'm over here I'm
All
air
right,
hugging you
but
like right now.
as long as you don't air fry me.
Thank you. I'm really humbled,
I-
by that, to be likened to, say our favorite president in the whole entire lineup. So I thank you, for those words, and and the same being here, like our relationship, we all met by doing this show, and like even me and Nicole, like we all it's just like we know each other, and we had
Right.
like we hadn't met each other, but we know each other. And so I love the fact of like our family, and like to do this with you all again is like an honor. So I'm happy for the show and for the listeners who will glean from us, from our experiences.
Now, with that being said, we have one more person on the list,
You
and that's
expect
Jim.
you
So you can share whatever you want. You're out deer hunting.
you expect you
Saving the
expect me to say
world
something
with
and
James
follow up after
Bond.
that? You expect me to
Yes,
follow that? Like really? Really?
Jim, you got this.
Listen, maybe at home putting together some difficult jigsaw puzzles.
Stop. You know, that's a great story, and I'm like, what am I supposed to say after that? Like,
Jim, I believe in you.
thank you. I've been maintaining these 4 years. I found out more about myself, about certain conditions that have developed over time, and I think that these past couple of years have exposed me more to my mortality and other people's than than I really was thought that was possible, or I just choose to ignore all these years. I had to recover from a few minor health conditions that could have been fatal, but thank God I was able to pull through that. I think more of my life has more become, I won't say a supportive role, but mostly a role that I chose to ignore myself for all these years. I didn't think I was really qualified, or even I really didn't even care for it, but I just realized that certain life circumstances has, I won't say forced me, but has morally opened my eyes to something that, that similar to LaDonna Marie, that I'm mostly good at encouragement from a separate standpoint for people who are around me. Usually I try, but I don't usually, like, not very forceful, or didn't have that much conviction until I started having health problems, and I think that changed for me in life in general, of what's out there, what I believe, and how I can use that to help other people. So it was mostly more or less these past couple of years, not really saying finding myself, but accepting what I should be doing versus what I want to do, and that's what these past couple of years I've been noticing more about myself.
So, are you moving in that direction to
Yeah,
do those
actually, I
things?
have started. This was actually, even though it's self-isolation and stuff, this was actually a perfect time for me to do so. Um, I'm not unencumbered by outside influence. This was more of a, I won't say a restart, but this actually exposed more that I can adjust more freely, instead of just having other influences outside easier to distract me. And this is a very, how can I say, I won't say tragic, but it's a very, like, series of unfortunate events that has transpired for almost a year now. Well, a little bit, started in December. So I said for a year now. And during that time, it really accelerated where I was able to push out all the noise and just really find out and listen to what I should be doing versus what I want to do. And I think this really has helped me realize that I do have my limits sometimes, but it's mostly self-imposed. And I am, without, outside influences telling me something different, I think that I have managed to make some strides in really what I want to do and how to organize it.
So, in other words, that means that
That's not happening. I told you that. I told you that.
333,333 cents that you owe me, you're not going to
that
pay
that
that?
that
Is that
was
what,
10 years ago. I
is that
told
what
you no. That's the most consistent thing you'll get out of me in my life. That's a no. That's the most consistent thing you'll get out of me.
You see what happens? People don't pay what they owe. I tell you, that's a problem. It's a problem. That's why I stay to myself, because people don't live up to their obligations. So, one of the most important things that I think we do is talk about everyday lifestyles and relationships and stuff like that. And so now that we sort of caught up, for those of you who have been following us previously, and those of you who are new to the show, to the podcast now, back then it was the online radio, but we're doing a podcast now. So we want to get into the discussion, not hold you much longer, that we would love to talk about in terms of relationship. And that topic is knowing your dysfunction. So what does that mean, knowing your dysfunction? Well, I think for the most part, just about all of us who live life have some sort of dysfunction at a portion of our life. Some of us grow from those dysfunctions, and some of us fall deeper into the dysfunction. And I think it's very important that we as people who look for relationships, dating, friendships, marriage, whatever it is that you want to get out of life, that you understand who you are on the inside when you're bringing it to other people. And the same thing with other people, because if you don't know, or and the person knows or doesn't know, it causes a complication when you're trying to interact and bond with somebody, or nurture a relationship. And not knowing who you are, not knowing the deficiencies that you have, can be a complication. And a lot of times when you see people, they're quick to point the fingers at others, but never look in the mirror and see what is coming out of them. So that's a discussion that I would like to get into. So I'm not sure if anybody had any initial comments. If not, I'll start it off, based on being that I brought up the topic. So anybody want to talk about that right now? Nicole?
You can start it off.
You can start off, yeah.
Okay, so it looks like I'm going to start off the song. Okay, so the point of saying knowing your dysfunction is because a lot of times we get into relationships not really sure what we want, what we need, the need versus the want, how to compromise in terms of reality versus fantasy. And fantasy meaning that people tend to have a conception of what a perfect relationship is. Now, the truth is there's no perfect relationship. It can be ideal for you, but that doesn't mean that it's perfect. So a lot of times we grow up and, we have a fantasy of what Mr. Right or Miss Right is going to look like or be like. And then we forget what we should look like and what we should be like. And according to our circumstances, we tend to have insecurities, or we tend to have emotional blocks, or some flaw inside of us that kind of keeps us from really obtaining a meaningful relationship. So for a perfect example, so I think one of the biggest problems in relationships are the parents. So your parental situation often guides how you view relationships. So for example, if you had a abusive relationship at home with your parents in terms of your mother to your father, whether it was physical or mental, emotional, whatever the abuse could have been, a lot of times that's going to form your opinion. And I like to say that there's two ways to look at that when you're in that situation. And I call it because of versus in spite of. So what that means is because of your environment, you are a certain way. So that's one kind of person, one type. And the other type is in spite of. And those people are, in spite of everything that they've experienced, they're more geared to wanting to have a meaningful relationship and seeking it out and working at making sure that that relationship happens. So when you have the because of those, I in my opinion, of course, um, those type of people tend to not work towards a relationship. They kind of fester into their dysfunction, whether it's getting angry fast, cursing, screaming, yelling, and then the other person, in spite of, those things can occur, the same type of things, but they'll be the person to, oh, I'm sorry, or to improve from whatever issue could have happened. So they've said something that they shouldn't have said, oh, I'm sorry, and then they make improvements and move on from that. But I think because of they keep on. So you'll have a next disagreement, and then they return to that default behavior and return to that and so those are the two types of people that I see, because you're either going to let what your environment was be the crutch for who you can't be, or you're going to let the environment that you live through um, inspire you to be more than what it was. So those are the people that I see, and usually those are the people who like to build versus the people who like to destroy. Because everybody in their mind, no one is quick to say they're the villain in a relationship. No one is. I'm the bad guy. I was the bad one. I made the bad decisions. So it's very rare where you get someone could say, well, this is what I'm responsible for, and not even look so far as trying to find the fault in other people, but looking. And if we all did this, if we found the faults in ourselves, we would find less faults in other people, because then we would make conscious efforts to do the right thing because it's right, not because of it's this person or that person, but we should be doing right no matter who the person is. And if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but you're making the effort. So that's the perspective that I'm bringing in terms of knowing your dysfunction, knowing you come from, knowing the dysfunction in other people, because that's very important as well. A lot of times we don't see the dysfunction until it's too late. So when you see that somebody that has a dysfunction, depending on how attracted you are to them, you tend to ignore the sign. So yeah, that's pretty much my perspective there. I don't want to ramble on and everyone just hear my voice for the whole show. So, Nicole, you
Yeah, I'm
ready,
ready.
or you want to
Um,
continue? Okay.
I agree with everything you said. And what came to mind when you mentioned the topic for me was self-awareness. If you're not self-aware when you go into a romantic relationship, a business relationship, um, any type of relationship, those signs or things that you're dealing with will come up. Even if it doesn't come up right when you meet a person, those things will come up later. Like you said, that there are signs that you may see when someone has some dysfunction or something going on with them. Sometimes a person can conceal those things from you for 20 years. You won't know because they wear a mask. So if you're not self-aware about yourself and your shortcomings and things that, maybe traumas that you've dealt with as a child, like you said, other traumas that you may have dealt with, um, I believe that that's why you get those things, because we don't take the time to deal with our own stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We don't do self awareness, personal development. We don't, check ourselves. We're always looking at the other person to make us happy. We're looking at the other person to fill those voids. Okay, if you have mama issues, daddy issues, you look for your mate to, create those voids, create your happiness. But if you work on yourself, then you won't have those. You may have some issues, but it's something that you and your partner, or you, whoever you're collaborating with, your business partner, you guys can work on, or you won't feel offended when someone says something that they may see in you. You'll be like, yes, I'm aware of that. If it's something that you're aware of, or if it's not something that you're aware of, you'll take note of it and try to work towards making those things better, especially if you're in a relationship, a marriage, any type of partnership. You're going to try to make yourself better if you want the relationship to work. So
Yeah, I agree with that. You just made me think about something else as well when you talk about being self-aware so that you can see what other people are doing, because yeah, people do mass, but there's also things that people do that should red
Right.
flag when you meet them. And that's the one thing that took me several years to kind of figure out, even though I knew it. And that's the weird thing, is like when you're not in the relationship, you can see a million things that other people are doing, things that other people are going through. But when you're the person, you're clouded by whatever, you most of the time miss all the signs, and you're like, wow, I can't believe I
well,
didn't see that. And it's weird when you start rewinding the tape and you're playing everything back, you can see
right,
every little
right,
sign that was like, wow, that happened, and I can't believe that I just
right.
didn't see that.
Well, and another thing with that
Even
too, I
when
feel
you
like sometimes when you're in a relationship, you see it, but you make excuses for it. It's
Mm-hmm.
one thing to see something and or to, just be oblivious, like I didn't know that. When a family member may tell you, this was going on and you're oblivious to it. But when somebody tells you something or you break up off with the person and someone brings up to you all the things that you've seen, and you just, because you love the person or you wanted to make it work, or you had a child, or you just don't want to lose the things that you guys accumulated together. We got to think about the whole view of it. Why do people act like they don't see something? It's for protective reasons. It's because I want to protect my family. I want to protect this relationship.
Right.
I wanted people to believe that this was the perfect relationship. You know what I'm saying? I told everyone that this was the person I was going to be with for the rest of my life. But we choose to not see things,
Yeah.
and that can be a problem. So that's why I say self-awareness. It starts with us. It's
Mm-hmm.
never the other person. It's always with you.
Yes. Yes.
So LaDonna Marie, it sounds like you ready to jump in that double
Yeah,
dutch rope.
I'm gonna
So come on
piggyback.
in.
You know what I'm saying, off in Nicole, because I was just saying this the other day, and I love this topic, knowing our dysfunction, because both of us deal, like she said, with personal development, and you know what I'm saying, like growth, personal growth. And so for me, I can say that this has been a life lesson. Number one, like you said, knowing yourself. Because when you begin to know yourself, and even when you begin to comb back the layers and pull back the layers of the things that have gone on in your life, because I've been on a journey for the longest of knowing myself,
Mm-hmm.
standing in a truth that even if I don't like what I see, I know that I see it. And so how can I fix it? So knowing
Right.
myself, for me, it even got realer in the last, saying 5 to 6 years, because I had written a book called, I got a million books, but I wrote this book called Lessons to Mirror Conversations. And so that's when it really got real. When I began to say to God, I'm going to look in this mirror and I want you me, and I want you to tell
Right.
me whatever it is that I eat, I might not even like, and I could be the one who contributed. I could be the one that it was done to, or I could be the one that did it. So now I want to be real, because for me, there had been cycles, there had been things of little drops and breadcrumbs of things that I saw that I did not like, or that I attracted out of a person that I did not like. So I was always aware to other dysfunction, whether I was the one who did it, just because I may had if it's done to me, I'm gonna do it to you, or if I just was so hurt by what was done to me. So I wanted to be able to know the dysfunction and begin to control the narrative of my life. So it's very important. And when she talked about self-awareness, it is, you got to know yourself. You got to know yourself for your flaws. You have to know yourself for your strengths. And you have to, I never called them weakness, but I always called them things that you needed to build upon. Well, we have to know those things. And so even for me, and like for many of the listeners, I know looking in that mirror can be hard, because like you said, we point the finger so much, oh yeah, I saw
Mm-hmm.
that, and yeah, he was doing that. But what about you? Because first of all, when we're in this situation, you either aided and abetting because like you said, we see it, we know it, and we done told everybody this our boo for life. So that means we gotta he's our boo, so we gotta deal with all this extra stuff that we see and that we know behind closed doors. And so knowing your dysfunction, I mean, I can say it and screaming from the mountaintops, like you have to know yourself first. Because when you do not know yourself, and I talk about this in some things that I got coming up, when you don't know yourself, you stay in a place, and like you said, you wear the mask. First of all, I've spoken about that in many of my books. You wear a mask, and then you stay in a place for too long. You stay in a place that is no longer serves you. You stay in a place because of the dysfunction that you see, but you may not have the courage to move beyond it. And so my life lessons have taught me that I had to know myself. I had to pull back the layers of who am I as a person, so that I can give the best to the person that I'm with. And I'm not going to be 100% perfect, because I believe there's still some things that I have to grow, because I wrote down on the paper as we were talking, the growth is necessary. Like actually being able to look at your dysfunction, or to know the things that can be better, you know what I'm saying, that are not going well right now, but they can be better. Then you know what I'm saying, then you'll be able to know that the growth is necessary, and it's a gradual development. I just want to give a plug, like for me, and I just recently learned this about myself. Oh, so I called myself back in the day an introvert, but I learned that not to be true. It was just I didn't have all the courage I needed to execute what I needed to execute. So I no longer will say to myself that I was an introvert. So I didn't have the courage. I had to get that courage. But for then, in those times, I played, my dysfunction was I played the background, or I dishonored myself by not letting what I knew to be true stand forward. And so for me, that was a dysfunction. That's something that I had to get within myself and say, no, I know this to be true. I am, encouraging. I am powerful. I am. No matter how many people said to me or said that I was not, when the enemy sent those people, but it was up until I had to believe it. That dysfunction that was trying to haunt me, until I was ready to attach it and attack it, then it still held the same weight of me. I carried it from years to years. And even though I executed stuff, I never did it to my full potential, because my dysfunction was thinking that what they said about me was true. And so that fear of me not executing everything or giving it my 100% became just something that I carried from year to year. And I hid within the word introvert, because I was not comfortable letting everything play full out and 100%. And so that's that.
Wow, that is definitely some insightful sharing that you just gave there. So I hope now Jim doesn't say, "How am I gonna say after all that?"
No, I'm not running this time. No,
So Jim,
not running. LaDonna really touched up on a lot of her points there that was made me realize things about myself over the years as well. It made me realize that the opinions and the basis of other people's thinking was based on their own experiences, and not be able to empathize with another person's experience as well. I talking from my own perspective. I had a lot of dysfunction growing up. Things that I thought were normalized behavior was not. And it was the process of undoing, relearning those type of other processes to function is probably the most hardest things that individuals today don't want to do or don't want to accept. It's hard to undo and relearn. It's a long process. You have to have patience with yourself and with the people around you. You have to realize that it's not going to come easy. It's not going to come quick. And it's a lot of trial and error. But I think for me, the unlearning and relearning was the hardest part. It was reconnecting with people again on the level I had to relearn. It was reconnecting with myself on a level that I had to relearn. And once you start, like what you said, your surroundings as a child, like what Jonathan alluded to an adult, that is the hardest thing to unlearn and relearn, because it's ingrained in you like forever. It becomes a habit, And, individuals with habits, it's, with a lot of individuals, it's hard to break. So for me, it was the process that was painful of doing that. And even though it took a long time, I think that process has benefited me in my relationship with other people more than anything. I had to realize that it's easier for me to confront what is wrong, what is considered functional to be dysfunctional, and what other people might be considered dysfunctional actually might be functional. Yeah, it took a long time to learn the differences between those. And I think that most individuals have to realize that, yes, what we have learned may not be acceptable. And,
Right.
it doesn't have to be popular. Just because it's popular doesn't mean it's correct. And I think that's another thing that we fall into, that we are enabled by others so easily and conveniently to accept certain things or certain things as normal. And we know deep down to be true it's not. We cannot, like what Donna said.
Now, I want to pause right there, because I think that's extremely important what you just said there, that it doesn't have to be popular. And that's another
Right.
big issue when you talk about relationship. People want to
Mm-hmm.
do what's trendy, and unfortunately, we have come to a place in society that a lot of the things that are popular in
Right.
relationships are unhealthy. And that's what causes so many problems outside of your dysfunction and someone else's dysfunction, is following things that a lot of
Yeah.
people do but are not right. And that is extremely unhealthy. And you think it was hard for people to stay in relationships and stay married back then. It's even harder now, because you have social media, you have TV, you have radio, you have all types of entities telling you, oh, live this
Right.
lifestyle and it's all right. You can do whatever you want to do. And it's not all right. The behavior that people do, whether it's cheating, drug abuse, threesomes, whatever it
Right.
is, those are not healthy things, because they
Right.
always end poorly, poorly. And like Jim said, something that's popular is not, almost never is never, because you never see
Right.
get a job challenge, right? You see, people putting condoms over their head and lighting themselves on fire and silly things like that. And, hang off a building challenge, something crazy like that. But you never see people say,
Right.
work at your relationship challenge, apologize for what you did to someone to hurt them challenge. You never see those things. And then I saw one, the amen challenge, and hardly no one's doing that. There's a prayer challenge. I've seen 5 people do it, but when it was the ALS challenge, everybody did it, and no one was contributing to the fun, the ALS fun. No one was. Everybody was throwing ice water on them, but nobody was contributing to the charity.
Right.
They were just doing it because everyone else was doing it, planking and all types of silly stuff. The Drake, whatever that song is, that they jumped out of the car, was dancing, and all types of silliness. So it's funny, we say popular, and people love following what's popular, and believe it or not, it carries off into relationships. How many people they involve their friends in their relationship and kind of follow what their friends do. Your friends are cheating, your friend got 10 girlfriends, your friend got 10 boyfriends. So, you doing the same thing. Yeah, he ain't nothing, or she ain't nothing. And next thing you know, that you live in their lifestyle. And they always say this: misery loves company. And a lot of times the people you follow, they're not doing the right thing. I remember I once had a girlfriend, and I'll never forget this. This was a teenager at the time, and we always got into arguments because I had a problem with her friends, and she was cutting school all the time. She was smoking, drinking, and she was barely into her teen years. Starting out in high school and so forth. And then she said, you got a hot problem with all my friends. You don't like my friends, this and that. And I said, here's the problem that I have with your friends. I said, if they were encouraging you to do the right thing, I would walk you to their homes every day. But I said, here's the problem. They encourage you to miss
Right.
school, to drink, to get high, to go out and party. But guess what? When they decide they want to do the right things in their lives, you think they're going to offer you that much encouragement? No. And sure enough, when her friends decided to go back to school and get an education, they left her behind. You know what education she has now? None. Not even a GED. So as years later, I heard from her at some point, and now she was apologizing because she realized what I was saying to her. And I told her, I said, listen, your success in life, that doesn't necessarily benefit me personally, but whether or not we're together, it always benefits you. So I'm not here because I'm not saying I don't want you to have friends. I don't want you to enjoy life. But what is popular, what that is is not healthy for you. And of course, she turned me into the villain, called me corny and all of that. And so we didn't last. And here's history. And now she's still trying to figure life out all these years later, after all her friends have left her behind, got college degrees, got careers, and I don't want to belittle the job that she's doing, but she's doing a job that literally that's all she can do. If she got fired from that job, she's going to be looking for a similar job. So it's like you get fired from Walmart, now all you could do is work at Target. And not to belittle anybody working at Target or Walmart, but if you could do better, most people will do better. It's not to say that you can't have a wonderful career. I know a lot of people who do, but that's not everyone that works there. Not everyone that works at Walmart ends up being the general manager of the store or some type of manager, where they're enjoying their lifestyle. So that was the point that I made to her. I was like, listen, you got to take care of yourself, because no one's going to take care of you. No one's going to take care of you when you're down and out. Your friends are not going to take care of you when they're taking care of themselves, taking care of their families, their children, whatever the situation is. And that's exactly what happened to her. All these years later, she's still trying to find her way.
Wow.
So that's the point that I'm making. And when we talk about it, I think it's important too, mental health, like you said earlier. I mean, we didn't even get to this topic, and you were talking about mental health. It's very important in mental health that a lot of times you find a qualified person to speak to, because if you don't, then you're really suffering in silence, and no one's hearing what you're going through, and no one can offer you support. So it's important, don't call your friend Riri because you got a problem, or Roro, or whatever your boys or your girls, who may be, when you have a problem, because a lot of times they're not going to offer you the best. Not to say you don't have friends that do offer good advice, but pound for pound, the person that you need to talk to when you have serious issues in life should not be somebody who's in the same situation as you or worse. And that's a lot of times what people do. You'd be surprised how many even successful people, they want relationship advice. They go to the relationship person that's getting a divorce or divorce. If the person can't offer you wisdom to make your relationship work, you should probably ignore them. And especially if it should work. Not to say if you're in a bad situation, that's one thing, and they're trying to say, well, you should do this, do that. But if you're in a situation where you should be an adult about it, or doing the right thing, a lot of times you're not going to get people who are in the same situation offering you advice and not do what they did. I hardly ever see it. I hardly ever see a crackhead saying, oh, you shouldn't do crack. No, they're going to tell you to do crack so you can bring them some rocks. So that's how it usually happens. It's never an alcoholic telling somebody, oh, you have a problem drinking? Bring me a bottle. We can drink together. It's very rare you're going to hear somebody who's in that situation to say, don't come on this side. It's very rare.
Right.
I'm here.
Nicole, you there?
What
you think about that?
I agree. I think that, like you said, I think it becomes a level of maturity when you're in relationships, and there comes a time where there are things that you believe in and that you stand on that you're not going to step down from. When you're at that level of maturity, there are some conversations that I'm definitely not going to have in a relationship. There are my things that I believe in saying no or yes to. I'm really intentional about what it is I say or what I do. You know what I'm saying? So I think that if you set an intention out that, you want this relationship to be successful, and the person is showing you something else, you're going to have a conversation about it, and it's going to be an adult conversation. You're going to listen to what they have to say. They're going to listen to what you have to say. But there are some things that you're going to say, hey, I'm not backing down from this. And then overall, what I didn't hear any of us say, there is accountability. You have to be accountable for your shortcomings or the things that you do wrong, and you know you do wrong. You know, accountability.
Well, that was going to be at the end of the discussion. That was going to bring that up, but you brought it up. That's fine. That's fine. You're stealing my thunder over here.
Come on,
I'm sorry, but I'm big on accountability. You know, if I've done something wrong, I'm going to say that I did it, and I'm going to stand on that and be accountable for my actions, because that's how relationships work. If we're all accountable, then what we did and we talk about it, you know, either that person, you're giving that person a chance to say yes to what you're talking about or no. And we got to be okay with what a person saying no. Because if you look at some of these relationship shows, you see people are killing their significant others because they said, no, I'm not having you cheating on me. I'm not taking you back. Okay. You lied enough, you know? So if you're not being accountable and you're not okay with, hey, this may not turn out the way I think it is. You know what? I got away with that quite a bit of times. I may not get away with it anymore. That person has leveled up. It's about leveling up in relationships. If you got a person, they don't want to see you grow, they don't want to see the relationship move forward, or they doing something else with, can I say this on here? Tom, Dick, and Harry and Sally, then you know what? Hey, you may not get that relationship back. Because, you know, there's some, hey, absolutely nots for me. That's my t-shirt.
Exactly.
That's my t-shirt brand. I'm just putting a plug in there for myself. Absolutely not. There's some absolutely nots here. And so I think that we have to stand on our values and our principles in relationships and accountability. And that can make things work.
Yeah.
If you're looking for that special gift for that special someone, perhaps you would like to go in style and fight against the coronavirus / COVID-19 in style, yet pure effectiveness, look no further than Cedar's Boutique, where they have a mask for you, whether it's pre-made or custom to your liking, or for that special gift that you may need. They have plenty more, such as the Cure Collection. Inside the Cure Collection is therapeutics, spa, tea, candle melts and accessories, and bath salts. Now, if that's not enough for you, they have cups, mugs, tea sets, and other items, as well as t-shirts, and soon they'll be selling jewelry. So if you'd like to get your gift today in time for the holidays, or maybe next holiday, you can log on to citasprettyBoutique.com, and that's CITASPRETTYBOUTIQUE. If you want a little bit more direct approach, you can contact them on Cita Boutique on Instagram. That's at CITABOUTIQUE on Instagram. I guarantee you, you will not be disappointed.
And I wanted to add one thing before I forget this. And this, to me, this is very important. When you're living your life and you're running the race of your life, look at the direction you're going in. Do not compare yourself to someone else. Do not say, oh, this person has that. I wish I had that. That person had that. I wish I had that. Listen, get what's for you. When you need it, when you have it, when it comes. Don't worry about what the next person is doing. Because too many people are focused on how other people are running in the race of life, and they become envious, and then they become stagnant because they're judging their success by other people's success. But guess what? You don't know what's happening to that person behind closed doors. And I've seen people who had today and had nothing tomorrow. So guess what? Maybe you don't get to the top of your ladder the same time the next person does, but when you get to the top of your ladder, it's the top of your ladder. It's not the top of my ladder. It's not the top of Nicole's ladder. It's not the top of Donna Marie's ladder or Jen's ladder. It's your ladder. And we have to stop focusing on what other people are doing and focus on what we're doing and run our own race, because it doesn't matter how you get there. It matters that you got there. You may have taken the subway. You may have taken a razor scooter. You may have taken a pogo stick. But however you get there to get there, listen, as long as you get there, it's all that matters. Because there's a lot of people that look like they're ahead of you. And look at the marathon. There's a lot of people winning the marathon. And then all of a sudden, they pull a muscle. They break their leg or something. They fall down and they can't finish that race. So you can't look at where people are at in life and say, oh, man, that, we came up together and that person's there and I'm here. Guess what? When it's your time for you, not for that person. Because we die, guess what? We die by ourselves. Even when somebody's next to you dying, guess what? They're not in your body. You're in your own body. So you got to remember, be concerned for yourself, not what other people are doing for yourself. Now you can use people for inspiration. I use Jim, I use Donna Marie, and I use Nicole for my inspiration. Because they're doing things. I'm like, oh, I'm doing that too. Not because I say, oh, they're doing it, I'm not doing it. Guess what? I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about I need to do what I need to do.
Yep.
And their path may be their path. My path is my path, and your path is your path. And that's how you got to look at it. And I know for a fact that there are people listening to this that do that. And I'm speaking to those people that are listening because I know exactly who you are because you told me.
Stop.
And I know they're listening to this show. So cut it out. That's all I'm saying. And, I just want to thank those who are listening, those who are listening a month later, who are listening from 200 years in the future. I appreciate it. It's December 2020. So if you're listening in December 2040, nice to meet you. I may not be here when you're listening, but I appreciate your tuned in. With that being said, I just want to say, one of the supporters, longtime supporters of the show that I definitely wanted to give a shout out, and we can give a shout out to anyone that's interested, and that's Cedar's Boutique. And I've known her. She's actually been a co-host on the show a few times back in the day. She has a wonderful company, and she has a lot of things like the mask for the pandemic. You can get custom masks. I've gotten lots of custom masks from her. I'm a Boston Celtics fan. I got Celtics masks. I've got people Knicks masks. Not that I wear Knicks paraphernalia, but Yankees, University of Michigan, Carhartt, or anything you want, they make in a mask. So they also sell toiletries. They sell aromatherapy products, t-shirts, or stuff like that. So if you're interested in that, you can type in Cedar's Pretty Boutique, of course, www, and then Cedar's Boutique, Pretty Boutique, and that's CITASPRETTYBOUTIQUE.com, and you can check out all the things they have there. It's a great price. Let me tell you, I order way more than I should. I had to calm myself down because I was literally, ordering, just trying to figure out people I could get a mask for. Oh, you want a mask? Okay, see the boutique. I need and they're on Instagram under Cedar Boutique. It's CITABOUTIQUE. So if you're on Instagram, you can follow there. Let me tell you, great customer service. Let me tell you, never had a problem with an order. I've ordered also. Her daughter, I think she's 17 or 18. She's an artist. I've ordered paintings from there. Like, let me tell you, I'm all in. Cedar's Boutique. I'm all in. I love it. So if you're interested, check it out. The website was just launched recently, so you can check out. Like I say, you can order stuff from Instagram. They do order from Instagram. It's very simple. They send you the invoice and everything. For those of you who have businesses that may be ordering for your business, they do send an invoice so you can use that for your tax purposes and somewhat and so forth. And pretty much that's what I want to say about that. If anybody, of course, LaDonna Marie, I know you can put your website and your information for those who may want to follow you on the gram, or wherever you would like to follow that. And Nicole, if you want people to follow you so that you could bully. No, I'm just kidding. You know what I mean. All right, so LaDonna Marie, if you wanted to plug something.
Thank you. So I wanted to just talk about my books, LaDonna Marie Books. You can follow me at www.ladonnamarie.org. All of my inspirational and motivational books are there. Personal development, personal growth, and also spiritual growth. And also my nonprofit, Planting Positive Seeds, is at www.plantingpositiveseeds.com. For both, I do have Instagram. Instagram is LMB_poetry, being that poetry was the first thing that God gave me. And then also I have Instagram for Planting Positive Seeds. It's Planting Positive Seeds Inc. INC. And so if you go to my website, you can follow me because I have where you can follow all of those. So if you just go to www.ladonnamarie.org, you can find where I am everywhere. So thank you so much for the opportunity to continue to put amazing books into the world for people to read.
Yes.
Nicole, you still there?
If you guys want to follow me, you can come to Instagram at Danica Worthy. That's DANICAWORTHY. If you click the link in my bio, you can sign up for my newsletter. You can also find me at Danica Worthy LLC, where I teach personal development as well. And I look forward to seeing some of you sign up for the newsletter.
Good. Sounds good. I definitely got to sign up for that newsletter. Jim, you can catch him at the Gotham Comedy Center, July 1st, 2021. You got to be 21 or older to drink minimum. No, I'm just kidding. So Jim and I, we don't really have, I haven't set up my social media for the show. It's somewhere in the universe. I haven't set it up. Jim hasn't set his up yet, but hopefully by the next show, we'll have our accounts ready and available but if you wanted to follow me personally, I'm pretty sure everybody listening maybe, but I'm at on Instagram, Joe Props NYC. And for those of you who know me the long time, know what that's about. But eventually I will have my Jonathan St. James. I'm not sure where it's at in the universe because I forgot what the name is. So I have to go back online and see what I put on there. So that's why as of this program, I don't remember what the name is. And I should pop on myself for not writing it down. But it's somewhere in the universe. I want to say, you know what? I'm lying. I can tell you what it is. So I will check right now because it should be in my email. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, because I opened the Gmail just for that. So let me go all the way to the beginning and it should be on there. So let's see, where are we? Let's see. Is Instagram showing up? Of course Instagram is not showing up. Why would it?
When you need it.
Right. Instagram is not being helpful right here. So, but if you would like to send me an email, that's kind of easy to do because I definitely have that. You can email me at, what does this say? jstjamesent@gmail.com. So if you like the show, if you want to send me a check in the mail, or, you want to leave me some of that in that big financial cash day that you have in your will, you can let me know and I can send you my Zelle or Cash App or PayPal. And listen, you can take the burden off of Jim from that $3 billion that
Please help him out, y'all.
So maybe we'll start a GoFundMe. So, okay. So for some reason it's not showing up. So please bear with me until next time where I'll actually have the address for you. I thought it would show up because I thought I signed an account here, but apparently it's not there. So I have to look for where I put it. You know what happens when you just are not on top of things the way you should be on top of things. And I will be on top of it. And with that being said, I want to thank everyone for listening because we've definitely had a lot to unpack today, and I feel like I unpacked a lot. Well,
Yeah,
Yes.
I did.
you know,
Yeah.
Good.
so definitely, and I'm so happy that Danica Nicole Worthy and LaDonna Marie, as well as Jim, but I knew Jim was coming on because I told him that I would post those unflattering pictures of him on social media and show up. So I knew he was coming today. I can't get the 3 billion, but I got him to show up today, and he told me he wouldn't charge a fee for his appearance
That's
today.
good.
And Don Marie said it's free this time, but she does accept payment plans. And Nicole's money, she
I,
already received the
I don't
cash
use
app.
Cash
So.
App, but you can deposit it to Danica Worthy LLC. I'll be looking for it.
Come on now.
So I wonder who I sent that to. Oh, I know who I sent it to. Your evil twin,
Oh
Danica
my
Runaway.
goodness. Stupid. Stupid.
You sent it to that email that you can't find for our listeners.
Exactly.
Right. No, I just sent the email. The Instagram account is where I'm kind of at a loss for. I'm almost certain that I signed up an account. I'm almost certain, but now I just can't remember what it is. There you go. But I will have it definitely for the next show. It will be there.
Okay.
That's right.
Nope. All right. So again, you listeners, we thank you for bearing with us. I hope you got something out of the show.
Yep.
If you didn't, I
I
certainly
did too.
did.
Yeah.
But not that I was expecting that. But you know what? It's always a hidden blessing when you can get something out of hearing the people that you invited to talk to you. And if nothing, I know 4 people today that got a lot out of this conversation because I certainly did.
I did too.
I certainly did, and I will continue to do so. And even if one person gets something out of this experience, that's really what we want to do. I've never done this to say I need 1 million followers. I mean, it would be nice for 1 million people to hear us, but even in our last show, like Nicole said earlier, we reached over 40,000 people, 45,000 people we've reached, and that was really just from people finding us, on Blog Talk Radio where we originally hosted. And like I said, over 44,000. And it's funny because if you look, it only says 18 followers. So we had 18 followers, but we never had 18 people listening. We had hundreds at a time, thousands in a day. Over $30,000.
Woo, speaking of that,
30,000 listeners. No, I didn't get $30,000. So that way, no one takes you to people call to say where's their share. But we had over 30,000 for one episode. We had over 30,000 listeners at least. So we had a total of over 40,000, 44,000, almost 45,000 listeners by basically people finding us and some posting on Facebook and social media, but the majority of those people they found us and kept tuning in. And some of them became good supporters of the show where they listened every week or made a comment or called in. And some of them first time listeners, who knows how many times they came back. But I made some friends along the way who unfortunately disappeared along the time. But you're welcome to be a friend of the show. I mean, these are the greatest people that I know, and they're wonderful friends and wonderful people. So if you follow them on Instagram or somewhere, let me tell you, you want to know someone? Know these people. Danica Nicole Worthy, LaDonna Marie, and Jim, who's he's in the witness protection program, so he's not really out there in social media like that. Maybe after the trial he'll be more open. If a serious case involved. You know, we got to protect his identity right now. Again, you're listening to the Truth is Still Straight podcast. Oh, I said it good. Yes. Because I was saying before we got on the show, I was having trouble with that. I get tongue tied. I don't know why. The truth is still straight. Yes.
Yes.
Right. Yes.
Practice makes perfect.
And then, of course, the host, Jonathan St. James, along with Danica Nicole Worthy, LaDonna Marie, and Jim. Not to be confused with Snap into a Snapchat. Yeah, we'll definitely see you on the next show.